Today, we will talk about the new movie Fly Me to the Moon, which hits movie theaters on June 12th. The warm romantic comedy atmosphere that the cast and trailer of this production, which was announced to be released in 2022 and shooting started, was enough to attract my attention and make me think that I would have an enjoyable watch. We will both talk about and criticize the movie with you. Warning, this video contains spoilers. Fly Me to the Moon is a 2024 American comedy romantic movie directed by Greg Berlanti. Starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, the film tells the story of the romantic events and conflicts between Kelly Jones, a PR agent, and Cole Davis, a pilot working at NASA, recruited by an agent for the Apollo 11 program, which is one of the most important developments in history and still today. Kelly's task is to make the necessary advertisement to land on the moon, save NASA's reputation, and find funds and sponsors. Everyone has now lost their trust and faith in NASA due to tragic developments, and they do not even think that it is possible to actually land on the moon. The government and the public argue that rather than investing money in NASA and fruitless projects, the financial support should be used in the Vietnam War that was developing at that time and should be invested in things that would benefit the public. At this point, Kelly Jones intervenes and begins to find all of the necessary financial support and advertising for the Apollo 11 program and NASA. Undercover agent Mo Burkus, who hired Kelly, informs Kelly of the plan in case anything goes wrong. Kelly, whose new mission is to shoot a fake moon landing, experiences a court of conscience with the ethical values of this situation and the efforts of the NASA employees who work hard. As a result of the lies she told to NASA officer Cole Davis, with whom she also had romantic ties, she does not accept this situation and returns to correct the mistakes she made and shows the fake moon landing set to Mo as if it were really on TV, saving the Apollo 11 program and her relationship with Cole. Now, to start with, when I started watching the movie, I realized that they were aiming to reflect a very entertaining and romantic comedy. The movie is 132 minutes long, but I swear it feels like more while watching it. I thought that some events were emphasized too much and that they extended something that could have been finished shorter and clearer just to make it look longer. I had fun watching the movie. It had something very summery and warm about it that made you feel warm. Fly Me to the Moon was a very modernized film. I don't think it reflects the end of the 60s very much. It had traces of 2024 in every aspect, whether it was the characters in the movie or the general cinematography. When we examine the character of Kelly Jones, we see a very typical 60s feminist character coming to the fore, a typical modernized, successful 60s American woman. Even though a better and stronger character image could have been drawn, it made me feel like they didn't want to try too hard because the movie evolved into a romantic comedy. If we want to examine the character of Cole, we could not see a character as prominent as Scarlett Johansson's character Kelly, but the chemistry between Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson was not in a way that would draw you into the screen, and you were not very impressed by the relationship between the two while watching. Channing Tatum reflected Cole's strong and cold stance to us beautifully. As for the issue of landing on the moon, I think it is an appropriate and intelligent answer to the theories that have been endless for years. It was quite fun to watch the making and shooting of the fake moon. If we focus on the movie from a general perspective, I didn't constantly look at the clock or feel bored while watching the movie. As I said, it was a sweet and entertaining movie that appealed to summer. It could have flowed more if it had been cut a little shorter because Fly Me to the Moon had the potential to be a great summer rom-com. There was at least one 15 minutes that I wish were not added to the movie. There are some rom-coms that you watch over and over again without getting bored, and they are timeless. No matter how many years have passed, its impact remains the same. For example, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 10 Things I Hate About You, Crazy Stupid Love, etc. Unfortunately, Fly Me to the Moon was not the kind of movie that could have this effect and achieve the same popularity. It had a lot of potential, but after watching it, it was the kind of movie that fell short of expectations and was disappointing. If we had to consider it in terms of comedy, it was an enjoyable and delicious movie, but it would definitely be more accurate to evaluate it in the romantic comedy category. Although there were many scenes where I laughed and had fun, I think it is not possible to call it a comedy movie. I think the seriousness we saw in the final scenes of the movie suited the theme of the movie better. If it were a rom-com made with the same seriousness, and without being forced to be too funny, the viewing pleasure would be higher than it is. If you enjoy watching enjoyable and entertaining movies, I can recommend Fly Me to the Moon to you. Yes, although the movie has some problems in terms of pacing, it is perfect for sitting down and having a good time. It is one of the films that deserves to be watched on the big screen in terms of its cinematic moments. Fly Me to the Moon, a movie that may also attract the attention of rom-com lovers, can help you sit down and have a nice movie evening with your family.